and good afternoon. Welcome to Flory Models Live with you, 3 o'clock on the 30th of March 2020 for another fun week in isolation, self-quarantining as we all are down below. And one of us has probably got it, haven't you, Andy?
I have got a bad cough, feel lousy and a banging headache, but no temperature, so...
But he's not going to go on about it.
Not going on about it, no.
So what we need to do is actually quarantine him a little bit. So what I'm thinking, hold on, look, there we go, look. he's now quarantined from us.
Is that 2 meters away?
So he is at a safe 2 meter distance virtually. So we'll put him in the corner, look. So, very good. Anyway, how is everybody? Everyone have a nice weekend?
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, really exciting.
Well, you had snow, didn't you?
We had sleet, snow, rain, high winds. You name it, I think we've had it this weekend.
Just another normal day in Doncaster.
Exactly.
Very good. Nathan, how are you?
I'm fine. Kind of in this infinite loop of nothingness, which is really weird, isn't it?
It is. Definitely. I think it's one of those things where everyone, I think, is getting into the rhythm of it now. I was out over the weekend, just walking, literally, took the dogs out. And it's funny because I'm literally right next to the A38, which is the major, well, the only big road that goes down into the southwest of England, down into Cornwall from Plymouth, things like that. And it's empty. There's nothing on it. Literally, I've got photos of it and there's just not a car on it, and that I've never seen in my life before. So that's pretty weird to see all of that one going on. But yes, I think we're all sort of getting there. Thank you very much for all the sales and the various things through PM and Flory Models as well. So we've been busy over the weekend taking care of all of that one. One thing I will say, just because I've had a little bit of a problem this afternoon, is that all of my parcels completely were up to date till around about 10 o'clock this morning. But I've had a thing from Royal Mail saying the tracking info isn't available and it's going to be coming as a paper copy, but I won't get that till Wednesday. So all orders have been sent, they have gone, no problem at all, but I won't be able to update anybody's tracking until Wednesday when I get the paper copy of it. So technology's failing as we speak with it as well. So if it turns up beforehand, I'll obviously update and we'll go along. All the UK ones, yours are updated as instantly they're done it, because they get scanned. I scan the orders before they leave. But I know some of you will be saying, my order hasn't been sent yet. Honestly, it has all gone. It's just that your tracking won't get updated for a couple of days, because I won't get the paper copy till Wednesday, because that's the next day I'll go up there and I'll get the paper copy of them, and then I'll manually update everybody's receipts and things like that. So yes, very good. So how are you, Andy? When did you first diagnose yourself? Oh, he's froze. He's died. That's it. He's gone. No, he's back.
Oh no, I'm back.
He's back.
Friday afternoon I had a bit of a sore throat and headache, and then Friday evening I just started with this awful cough.
Yeah.
And
Talking to me started.
yeah, it's gone on from then, to be honest with you. I just feel drained and tired and rough. But, you know, just generally not too bad. If it wasn't for the cough and the situation we're in at the moment, I'd probably be at work. But, you know, you're a bit of a social pariah, aren't you, if you go anywhere with a cough now? So.
Well, this is it. You should be, that's it. If you're not even sure, then you self-isolate. So is that it now? So is Sam and Shell got to sort of self-isolate for 14 days?
Well, apparently I have to self-isolate for 7 days.
Yeah.
And they have to isolate for 14 days. So, yeah, they're sort of like, got it twice as long as me.
They can't go anywhere
there's
now.
no problem with Sam. He'll self-isolate for the next 6 months without problem. So.
Yes. Well, it's all going very well. Good afternoon to everybody who is in live chat as well over the various different ways of getting to it. I must admit, I'm watching the YouTube one. If you guys can keep an eye in the normal one. Lots of modelling is being done, so yes, everyone seems to be fine there. Where are we? Yeah, that's all good. Loads and loads of you in the different chat rooms, and all good. So if you've got any questions to us, feel free, post up about it, and then we can answer you. We've got some bits set up. Matt's got some paints to show today, so he's got some various things about the red line Hatakas non-lacquers.
yeah, we're going to do the thinners test that we mentioned last week. So see what it reacts like with X20A, Vallejo, and it's obviously its own thinner. So they're here, look.
Yes.
So, and then I've got the Vallejo down there. So we'll see how they react, and might ever do a bit of a quick on test spraying.
That's it. So we can do a little bit of an on test there. To be honest with you, today I've been doing Mr. Mig, and so the next part of that is up with you right now, which is hold on, I should have set this all up, but I didn't. Is, where are we? Where's web mode? Here we go. Is in here. So part 7 of the MIG is up with you right now, which if we just scroll down through the video parts, where are we? There's 6, is 7, which is just down in here. So there we go. So basically part 7 covers all the painting stage of it. So we go light ghost grey, then we go with the dark ghost grey, and we do the metal work on there and various things, and we talk about paint finishes and masking up and all the good stuff that goes into that particular build on that one. So that part is up with you right now, and then by the wizardry of this, hold on, I will get all these set up. We have the MIG has just had a wash coat, and you can't really see it that well on here. Hopefully you see it under there. So there we go, coming along. So what I've had to do is just a little bit of touching, rescribing work in here, purely because it was, if I just grab a cloth, a few panel lines have been lost. That's it. So what I've just literally done now is just rescribe them back in. So that's those in, literally just done like that. Happy with that. So quick job in there. So usual thing with the wash, if you find that you can't see your panel lines anymore, like you filled them up with paint and that, all I do is just rescribe into the plastic and then put a wash straight over the top. So that way it makes it all very, very nice. I'll tell you what I think I've done, which I'm a bit of a muppet for doing, and that's what these sticky bits are on here, which I'm going to have to take care of in a minute. Earlier I was using that Bond-It glue, and somehow I've managed to get it all over my cutting mat and it hasn't set, and I'm sure that's what's stuck onto that, because it looks like it's grease or oil, and I think it's unstick Bond-It glue, which should be fun trying to get that off, because I'm not actually sure how that's going to come away. The other thing as well, I've been working very nicely on my little T28. Me and Matt ordered some decals for it this morning, because I don't trust the ones that are in the kit whatsoever. To be honest with you, I've taken care of the seam just down the side here, so that one is there. Where's close-up camera? There we go. So I've got that one down in there and on here, but I've got a horrible seam that runs basically all around the canopy, so I've got fed up with trying to fill it small, so I've just whacked it with a load of putty just before we came on air. Just to make sure that one's in, because it's going to be very noticeable. So we'll get in there and we'll sand that off. It should be dry in around about half hour, and we'll get that sanded off, and hopefully that will take care of it, and then we can get it to paint and primer and making its way through. So now it's going to be an Ecuadorian one, wasn't it, Matt?
No, Uruguayan.
Uruguayan, that was it. So we've gone for that scheme, because that's quite a nice little tasty scheme for that one. So something a little bit different. So a little bit later on, we're going to be working with that one as well, going through the motions of cleaning that one up and things. And we'll be talking about probably raised repaneling, or because it's not rescribing, it's putting back in raised panel lines with a very sharp blade. Okay, so that's that one. That's coming together very, very nicely. So yes, very good.
Cool.
Cool stuff.
So,
good.
My sort of task I've set myself this week, as I've said to these lot earlier on, is I'm going to see if I can get 3 kits finished that I've got ongoing. So one of them is, let me just stick my overhead on, and then we'll go through it. Which one we've got? Is that my overhead? Yep. Hold on, I'm just bring that round. So there's obviously the Matchbox build that's going on, and over the weekend on the base I have gave it a coat of this stuff, which is that textured paint, because I wasn't happy with the cracked sort of ground that was on it. I wanted to give it a bit of texture, so I've covered it with a coat of this stuff, which is emulsion with grit in it, I think.
Yeah.
So that's what it smells like, but it's actually really good. It dries rock hard. There's obviously something else in it, but so yeah, that'll give that a bit of texture. So that's going to sit on there like that, and then I can add some plants and bits and bobs to it at a later date, washes and bring all the detail out. So plan on trying to get this finished this week, and also my Audi's not far off done. So I finished the decaling on that, gave it a clear coat, put the glass in, and I'm just doing the lights at the back. The lights are in. I'm going to do the front lights, grill's done. Got a bit of black paint on there that should wipe off. So I should be able to get that finished as well. And then I've either got this, which is my Latin American group build.
Very nice.
Which is going to be the Chilean one, I think, if I remember from the decor. It's been that long. Which one was it? That one.
Yeah.
That one. So yeah, it's Chilean, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're going to finish that or the Buccaneer.
Very nice.
So that's what I've set myself to do.
Very cool.
So
Right,
we'll see.
okay. Very good. Nathan, how's it going with yours?
Not too bad. Let me switch the camera. Ooh, try and get the right mouse. Right, I've sanded the move the camera a bit. Sanded this thing to within an inch of its life. So 95% of the raised panel lines have gone. And so I'm going to crack on with that this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I've also got a Latin American group build thing in progress, so I might try and get some spraying done on this week as well. And I've also one more on the go. So it seems 3 is the magic number. I've filmed about 10 minutes of that. So the tornado, the intakes are on.
Very good.
I've hit a few bumps in the road with the intakes, but that's all part of the fun, isn't it? Showing how it goes wrong and how you fix it.
Yeah.
So I'll do a bit more on this and get the next, it'd be part 3, will be up later in the week once I've put the engines on.
Very good. You know, you cut off the flappy bits on the back.
Yes.
I did the same as well.
Yeah, it's just because these
I think everybody did, because I just chopped them all off as well. And ended up
they're
gluing
just
them back
buried
on.
in the sprue. You can't see them when they're on
No.
the sprue.
No, that was a thing. But if you look at my video build as well, I did exactly the same thing. I ended up making them out of plastic card, sticking them back on.
Yeah, probably better off doing that, to be honest, because they're the moulding's not so great on those parts anyway.
No, it's it. Very nice. But no, coming along very, very nicely. Right, Mr. Quarantine, how are you and what are you up to?
Not too bad. I've been doing Carol with me Gannet. Let me
Yes.
put overhead on, easier to see. So basically it's had a primer coat on to have a look at seams, taking care of all the seams, just need to do some more rescribing on it now. Quite enjoying it actually, not too bad at all. And then I've got my big SIG build to carry on doing, went to get time.
With the MIG.
So we've all got plenty to do.
That's
Plenty
it.
to do.
Everyone's got plenty to do, see
think,
and do,
to be
and all the
honest-
rest of it. I
Right.
know guys are mentioning about the camera works really bad, but honestly, I think what's happened is I blame the world because everyone's on social media downloading stuff, so they are throttling everything. So that's why we're not getting the full sort of experience, because everyone's a little bit blurry at the moment. So apologies for that one. It's a little bit different from me because I'm having their streams coming in, it gets chewed and that, but even theirs coming in, the raw feeds over there, they're all a little bit 8-bit anyway, as I call it. So I think that's just part of the thing. I blame Matt's bloke who does all the gym stuff
Yeah, it is. He's just killing it, isn't he?
because he's making millions apparently, isn't he?
Do you know what? Good on him. He's donating it to charity.
Oh, is he?
What he figured now on a Monday. Fair play to him. Yeah, he's donating it. So
Fair enough.
good
So
on him.
We'll let him off with that one. But obviously, hopefully, normally it's not like this. It doesn't normally happen. But unfortunately, I think it's just the way the world is at the moment. YouTube are reducing bandwidth, as we know. So also check on your settings, because YouTube by default now, apparently when they're throttling, it's defaulting to 720p instead of 1080. But I am releasing it out here and it is at 1080 at 60. So that's our normal sort of way, and if I throttle at this end, doesn't seem to make any difference. It just seems to be the way that YouTube is doing things at the moment. So yes, very good. What? Phil, you're very clear to me. No, yeah, what it is, it's just because it's the way it's coming in from other people's signals and stuff like that. Me, it's a little bit different because I have got a very, very good internet connection here. Thank you, BT. So I never really have a problem, but it's just where it comes in from the other guys, it all gets throttled a little bit. We tend to be using Skype for it and it does throttle. So I am aware of it, but there's very, very little we can do about it at the moment, I'm afraid. Right, cool. Right, where do we want to start today then, guys? Do you want to do your paint test first, Matt?
No, we'll do the paint test in a bit.
All
Do
right.
a bit of chat first.
Okie dokie.
And we'll do a bit of modelling, and later on we'll do the paint test. I'll get the other camera going and,
Yes.
the overhead and see what happens.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. We'll go for that. Sometimes, anyway, it does tend to settle down after about half an hour anyway, the first half an hour of this, because we're usually on half hour before we go on air, and then it tends to settle after we've been doing it a while. So we will be fine. All good stuff. So anyway, we trust you're all good and fine everywhere in the old chat thing. What we're doing a little bit as well is have a look around at your great work to see how you guys have been getting on with everything that's going on with the various builds. So we've got those coming up in a minute as well. I will set that up and go through the motions of those because I haven't got them ready either. So it will be a case of watch this space. I should have prepared for this. You think I'll be used to it after all this time? I was busy doing the orders this morning, then I was editing, and then I was doing the actual MIG before we came on air. But I will bring up the various bits down in here for the actual COVID, as it's now known.
Just a quickie, Phil.
Go on.
Neil says, can we hear Andy's cough so we know what it sounds like? You'll hear it throughout the...
Yeah, you'll be bored of hearing it.
You'll hear it, trust me. And Phil and Co, did you see Andy in the previous 2 weeks?
No, locally.
No, I haven't, because it would have been me who would have seen him, and I haven't.
Yes.
Because he was working.
I can remember actually both were saying that we got sore throats, didn't we? That weekend.
Oh, I can't remember. I seem to permanently have a sore throat.
Yeah.
No, no, really. I've got a permanent cough, but it's not a cough like that sort of thing where it's constant. It's just an annoying, as I've been told by my wife, every now and again, one of them.
Yes.
Which is proper annoying her.
Is
I
it
think
persistent?
you do it and not realise you're doing it, if you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the thing with a lot of it. You don't realise you're doing it, especially when you've had it a while,
Yeah.
So, but no. Apart from that, the rest of us are all fine. We're all good.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll all be good to go. I don't know. I'm going to get this stuff off, That's my little bit of trouble down here.
Any IPA?
Yeah, will that do it?
Resin in it.
Hey?
Isn't that stuff resin?
Yeah. What
Like
it is, I've got it down on
resin.
here. I did a quick repair job using it, and it was leaking a bit. And I know what I've done is the cloth has gone on it, and I've rubbed my cloth on the model, and it's stuck to it.
Oh.
So, yes. Don't try this at home, kids.
Patrick said, sand it back to plastic, Phil.
Yeah, right, okay. I'm just going to give this a very light rub. Oh no, IPA's done the trick. That's it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Yeah, we're okay. IPA is the future. But IPA won't go through your lacquer coat, will it? Cue the silence.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that without my solicitor.
There's a question on YouTube about Abtalung Starship Filth and the MIG Starship Colours oil brushes. Has anyone used the MIG oil brushes before and got any thoughts on them?
Yeah, we had this one the other day, didn't we?
Not these ones, the
that-
orange one.
Is that Mr. Mig again?
No, the oil brusher things.
They all those little funny.
Oh, them things.
And
Have you used them yet?
No, these things.
Yeah, they're the ones, yeah.
No, I've not used them yet.
The guy liner.
Eyeliner, that's the stuff.
Yeah,
Eyeliner.
I haven't bought any of those yet.
I
think
think
the good
my answer to it is that yes, of course, you could go out and buy just a tube and make it up yourself. But if you just want what I call grab and go product, then I can't see anything wrong with it.
No,
Yeah, I was about to say they're good for convenience.
they're not horrendously expensive, are they?
They're not.
It's a bit like, to be honest, most products out there, weathering products, can be made up simply of either paint or oils or something else, because that's all they literally are. We all know what they're made of, but it just depends if you can be bothered to sit there and make up your own batch. But if you've got it in a pot ready to go, that does make a lot more, you know, a bit more time, and if time's limited, it's quite nice to have a product you can just grab and go.
I think that's it. It's the time you
It's
have.
convenience.
It is,
Yeah.
isn't it? Because if you're only model like for a couple of hours on a night after work or whenever, you don't want to spend that time messing about making oil washers and
No.
you know enamel washers and stuff. So you just want to pick them off your shelf and use it.
Yeah. So from my point of view, I think fair play. If that's what it is, you can just do it. Or, as I say, you can knock it up yourself. But
Yeah.
I know people who've got little pots, you know, bought a load of little pots or leftover Tamiya pots, and that's what they do. They make up their own washes and their own bits and pieces, and you know, if that's what you do, fair play, you know. But
I have a
some of
washer,
us,
shadow brown, just sat in a Tamiya pot, mixed up, ready to go for doing cockpits and wheel wells and stuff.
yeah. So, you know, that's the thing. I think at the end of the day, if it's a convenience thing and time's important to you, then fair play. If not, you can probably just make it up yourself. But then you get into the realms of how far do you go? Because in theory, you could make up all your paint yourself. You know, it's, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where do you draw the line?
Talking of paints, I have just put in this morning restock for all Tamiya paints, lacquers and X range, thinners, masking tapes, all that sort of stuff. And I've also done one with Mr. Hobby. The only ones obviously I can't restock at the minute is Attacker. So unless that changes and they reopen, which
Yeah.
I've not heard anything yet, unless this is it coming through on my phone. Then yeah, so for the foreseeable future, the Attacker, whatever was in, that will be it until they reopen. So everything else should hopefully readily be available.
Bob says, and I won't say the name because we'll get done by YouTube, but it says certain adult sites are having the same problem with obviously having the resolution turned down.
Alright.
So his friends tell him.
Allegedly.
It's one of them, is it?
Do you guys know of a decent 148 scale Douglas A20 Havoc?
Who does one? Did you say?
Well, it's a decent one he wants. Who does a
Yeah,
decent one?
I think there's only one out, and that's the old AMT kit that Italeri reboxed in various things. It's actually, I've built that kit. It's all right.
Yeah.
Could do with a few upgrades if I'm honest, but it's recessed. Together okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's the only one I've been 48.
I can't think of anything else apart from that. The old A&T one.
Yeah, but it's an all right kit,
Yes.
and it's quite cheap to pick up second hand, to be honest.
Something then.
It's not available at the minute. It's not in production at the minute, so it would be second hand or somebody's got old stock in. But yeah, half decent kit.
Yeah.
And you can get some cracking decal schemes for it.
Mm.
Kits World do some really nice ones.
Nice to know that ones then.
Yeah, definite. Especially the ones that were over the Pacific, and then obviously you can do invasion strike ones over here and North African ones. So you've got the desert schemes. So yeah,
Could imagine ICM doing one of them.
yeah,
Go with the
yeah,
Fit the rest of their range, wouldn't it?
yeah.
yeah. Because it's not a massive aeroplane in 48 either.
No.
So yeah, different variants as well.
Yeah.
I mean because it's like the bomber, and then there's the one with all the guns in, isn't there? Like the gunship one. So the G. Yeah.
Roger says Ajima or Agima, who make Hypersol, do 3 paint ranges. Have you ever tried any of these? No. To be honest, out in the the old east there's Eastern European countries. There's lots of different paint manufacturers out there that do them. You know, I know obviously everyone knows of like MRP and stuff, but there's loads of different companies out there do them. I get lots of people saying to me, "Have you tried?" and various companies saying, "Would you like to, take on?" But again, it's one of those things. But I must admit, Ajima, I know they do a couple of different versions of that alien blood, as I call it, stuff. They do not quite a strong version of it as well. They've got quite a range apparently. Bryce, funny you say that. Nathan, that's that picture I sent you, and then you sent me back the black and white original.
Yes.
Yes. So Bryce, yes, we are aware of it, and Nathan sent me back the original photo. It's actually been a post-coloured job, so I wouldn't take any notice of that photo you've got, because Nathan sent me back the original, which obviously is in black and white version of that picture. So again, it's one of those minefield things. It's probably correct in the right ballpark, we were saying, wasn't it, Nate?
Yeah, I'm going to put a link up. So I've put some pictures together on the Luftwaffe SIG website. There's no definitive answer.
Right, that's always a good one. We like them.
The regulations from November 1941 state that anything that's visible through glazing should be RLM 66.
Right.
Looking at the original black and white photograph, that photograph was taken in November 1940. It does look like it's RLM02, and probably throughout the cockpit at the front, you can't see the front, but I've pulled a few 110 pictures together that do suggest in the back they were RLM02.
Right.
It's one of those things, what the regulations say and what actually happened, two different things. So what I'll do is, in a minute, I'll drop a link to what I found on the. I mean, it's a little bit too much to explain in this, and you can't really see the pictures I'm looking at either.
Yeah.
So I think the conclusion is, it might be RLM02 in the back, it might be 66. It depends how old the aircraft was and whether they were sticking to the regulations or not.
Yeah.
And that's often the thing with Luftwaffe stuff, that what the regulations say and what actually happened are two different things.
Different things, yeah.
So I'll just put the link to I'll put it in the YouTube, and then I'll put it on the Power Chat now as well. And then we'll see, add some. Website addresses, can't do it. Oh, great, I'll try and...
Is it saying hidden, is it something?
It's saying, sorry, remove any web addresses and try again.
Oh, right.
If I put luftwaffesig.uk/blog, see if that's you can perhaps put the... So RLM 02 1941 possible. Yes. But not going to let me post that. I do. So if you go to luftwaffesig.uk, and click on blog, you can see some of the pictures that I've dug up. I hope that helps.
I'm sure it will. What else have we got? Hi all, is there any problems to look out for with putting acrylic varnish over pigments or on pigments? As long as you don't flood it, because the trouble is if you flood on the actual coat, then it will just kill your pigments underneath. So what you want to do is, like we talk about sometimes, is spraying dry, as I call it. So higher air pressure further away and then putting it down. If you're on about sealing them in, again, it's that thing. If you flood it and it goes on wet, pigments by their nature tend to dissolve and literally just become part of the background. So if you want to keep it, what I highly recommend is literally what I call dusty coat, long distance away, a good couple of feet, and just dust it very lightly on. That way, when it's actually hitting the surface, it's dry, almost dry, so it sticks, rather than splatting. So think of it like raindrops hitting the ground. So, you know, with pigments, I'm useless at these type of things, but the best way I can describe it as, if you've painted a chalk picture on the ground, okay, you don't want to be raining onto it with a hose pipe, because otherwise you're just going to wash it away. Pigments will be exactly the same thing. So by keeping it quite dry and spraying a long way away, and a higher air pressure, so it's drying it as it's being pushed onto the surface, it should dry it off.
Yeah. Trouble is with pigments, really, you shouldn't cover them with anything, should you? Because it just kills them.
Yeah, I must admit,
If you can help
I
it.
don't. I think it kills the effect.
Yeah.
You know? And most of us don't handle our models afterwards, so it's not a problem for that. If you're into something, you're handling it, then you might want to protect it, but most of us don't. So honestly, I don't cover mine. I like to leave them el natural. I've seen the Atelier Night version of it. It's called an A20, apparently.
Yep.
The Atelier do the A20 148 scale AMT with added parts.
Yeah, I think Italy's released all versions of it. The B, the G, I think it is.
Look, Pal's shouting at me again. He does. So I'm going to call it a Jima just because I can. Night Fighter is the P70. RLM 02 version 1941. Was that possible?
Yeah, I think it was. Distinctly possible.
One of the builds on the bench right now is the Airfix. Oh, Boeing 707. Know it well. Yes, built that one myself.
Goes back a bit, doesn't it, that kit?
Yes, it's proper. It's one of those ones, being an airliner, you can actually, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be polishing it up and trying to get rid of the seam lines and everything. So it's one of those, just hit it with a filler and just go with it.
One of those that's moulded in that really weird, dodgy silver plastic.
Yeah, that's the one.
You can see all the flow marks in the plastic.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it looks quite pretty. pretty.
Is it not a good kit?
I wouldn't describe it as good.
Alright, then. Mind you, how old is it? Must be knocking on.
I would describe it as
definitely.
a kit. That's how I would go about it. I wouldn't call it a good kit, but it is definitely a kit. I was under the impression when I built it, it was one of those ones where it's like, it's the only one out there, so you know you just got to get on with it. And I'm thinking, well, how hard, how bad can it be? And in theory, I don't think it actually was that bad, but at the time, it did drive me to distraction. But again, I think my patience back in those days, because it's commission, was, time. It's like, come on, I just want to get on with it, And you can't. You need the filler to totally dry, to shrink, do all its stuff before you go attacking it. I'm really worried about taking out this raised detail, but I need to get in here and sand it, if that makes sense. That's the only trouble. Yeah.
I've spent the last 2 evenings taking all the raised detail off this thing. Apart from the vortex generators.
Sorry, say again?
I've spent the last 2 evenings taking all the raised panel lines off this Novo Javelin.
Yeah.
Oh, got repetitive strain injury from doing it, I think.
It will. You're going to look back at this and go, do you know what? I'm glad I did that, Kit.
Yeah, I've actually sort of, the aircraft's really grown on me. And without all the raised panel lines on it, it looks a bit more sleeker now. A bit less agricultural.
must be. I'm enjoying this, can it?
I think Nigel's going to ask Pramjit a really hard question when he's on about why Airfix don't do any World War II French bombers. I think it'd be a short answer.
Yeah. Yes, hopefully Pranjit will be on this week.
Pretty good. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. We're all going to sit back and watch you two do the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, watch this space.
Have you? I think you've not sorted out a date then.
We sort of have. Spoke to him yesterday. So,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's going to be either Wednesday or Thursday. But I don't know yet if we're doing it as a recording or we're just going to go live.
All right.
I suspect you'll give Airfix less headaches if you pre-record it. Be
I'm
some
just
very
thinking
nervous
the same.
people.
It probably will be pre-recorded, but as I say, it's because what I'd like to do is obviously doing justice and add the photos to it and all the bits and pieces. So
Yeah.
I want to make it a good one.
Frederick has posted and says, Andy, hope you're all well. Fairly new florist here. Been fan for a while, though I would like to report that the AFV Andy, Association for the Vindication of Andy, is in with some vindication of for Andy for regards last week's subject to the Kinetic Kafir 148th review. If you pop over to Flory Models news show, 12th of April 2013, approximately 40 minutes in, you'll see the big boss. You see the big boss, Flory's crack of a review of said kit. At your service, Fred.
Hey, what? I didn't get any of that.
Remember when you weren't sure whether you did the Kinetic Kafir, and I said you did do the Kinetic Kafir?
Yeah.
He said apparently it was 12th of April 2013 show.
Blimey, that's...
He's found it.
Wrong with that?
I thought we did say we'd done it.
I don't know. Now we know when then.
Yeah, we've got a date and everything.
Christian says, what's your worst spill of paint, glue or other stuff happened to you? Mine was when I was live on a show showing, no, it's not that one, the Kinetic one. That's the AMK one, Phil, it's the Kinetic one.
Was it part of a live show we did it then and not a review?
Yeah, it must have been, yeah. Yeah. So he was asking what's the worst spill you've ever had. Mine was live on a show and I was testing some paint out and I was like, for some reason I tipped my cup over to show the paint how flow it was and it ended up spilling all over my keyboard live on the show.
Yeah, I've filled a cutting mat with white primer.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm always spilling paint.
Did you ever spill any paint at work, Matt, when you were painting cars?
Probably. I can't recall, but I would have said I would have knocked something over or spilt it, or it fell out my gun, or my gun fell over, balanced where it shouldn't have been. Probably. Yeah. Can't recall the time I'd done it, but yeah, I would have thought I'd done it. Definite.
What's your worst paint spill, Phil?
Paint spill, just normal stuff over the cutting mat. But my best spillage was 30 litres of rust wash once all over my kitchen floor at my old house. Which that went down well, I can tell you. To be honest though, the floor, after it was all mopped up and cleaned up, was absolutely amazing because for some stupid reason we had a gloss black tiled floor, which I advise no one to have ever, because it's just like the worst thing ever, because it just permanently, if you ever make toast, it looks like you've had a battle, you know. So no, just don't do it. But no, I did have in the good old days, and I think I did a video back then, it actually used to do a thing where I used to have these big 30-litre drums with the wash, and they would sit there for about 2 weeks fermenting, and I brought it in the kitchen, used to sit at the kitchen table, have it on the bottom, you know, next to me, and then decant. And what happened was, I undid the barrel top, took it off, been mixing it, and then something I had to get from the other side, and my old kitchen was really tight, so I tried to step over it, caught it, and it knocked the entire thing over, and it was 30 litres, it just went right across the kitchen floor everywhere, and it was rust wash as well. So that was probably my finest hour. So trying to mop that lot up, and obviously the batch was ruined as well. Couldn't like try and mop it back in the bucket and squeeze it out, so that wasn't going to work. So yeah, that's probably my best ever spillage to date. But I have to say, the floor did come up beautifully afterwards because it got polished by the clay, polished the tiles, mopping it and doing all the things to it, and it was all right.
You've done a few colour cups over kits, haven't you, before in the past?
Oh yeah, well that's right, that's me, because I don't put the tops on. But it's only a few mil, so yes.
So did your floor have a rusty patina?
Yes, it did. It had a very, very, very nice patina, definitely.
Mm.
What about member questions? Ian, are you posting it up in the chat? I don't know, I haven't got that up. The guys hopefully were looking after that. Have you seen Ian's question?
No.
Again.
Well, is he posted in chat, or is he
I
posted
don't
in the
know.
forum?
Ian, where have you posted it?
Quick look on the forums if he's posted it in there.
Scrolling up now. Let's pop it in. Oh.
Ray says, hi Phil, Airfix Walrus Mark 1 is unavailable. Is the car door version of this the same kit? Don't know. And Matt?
Walrus.
Walrus?
Car door version of a walrus?
Well, yeah, I'm thinking, does he mean Typhoon?
Must do, yeah.
Must do.
I don't know, is the car version available still, the Mark 1?
Which scale? Which one we're on about now?
I think he's on about the 24th scale, isn't he? If he's talking
car
about
door
that.
one is available. It's the other one. The one you built's not available no more.
No.
But I don't even know now if the car door one is still in production as well.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Not %, so don't know. But yeah, if he means a Typhoon, if he means a Walrus, the Mark 1 Walrus is not available, but the silver, I think it's a silver skinned or silver whatever boxing
Yeah.
of Walrus is in 48. Excuse me. So, yeah.
I can't see where he's put his question.
I can't see it. I know we've had an analysis of French, Dutch and Polish participation in World War II.
Okay.
So then he says he's gone back to being an 8-year-old building a 1/72 Airfix Mosquito. Scratch built the carpet. You only get the floor and firewalls and seat.
That's a cool kit, the Mosquito.
I was going to say, it was a good kit, the Mosquito.
Yeah. Because it didn't have any panel lines.
That's what I'm thinking now while I'm putting panel lines into this thing. You don't need to do too much work to describe it here.
Stephen, if you can't get on the members chat, just make sure you sign out of everywhere. If you've got it on your mobile phone or something else like that, and it should be fine now because I've had it out with the devs and they've told me it's fine now. Just make sure you sign out of everywhere, then sign in, and it should clear because obviously it's the single signing system. You only need to sign in once, and apparently the chat room, if it detects you're already in there, it won't let you back in twice, and that's the trouble with it. But they did tell me they'd fix that, so clearly haven't.
Chris says he's bought a bench vice after seeing Nathan's Tonka build.
Yeah, you need it.
You need a bench vice, do you, for it?
just to hold the fuselage sides nice and straight. One of those ones from Aldi, the one of the ones with the suction base that come out in Aldi once every 3 months.
Yeah.
Perfect for it. Just get a nice tight join on the bulkhead parts.
Roger's saying about he had a discussion at his club meeting about the 124 scale Hellcat and why the subject was chosen. Someone said the Hawker Hunter would be welcome in 124. That'd be big.
Hunter? Wow.
That'd be a monster. Because the Hunter's quite a large jet.
Yeah.
So yes, I think if you had a Hunter and a Hellcat next to each other, I think a Hunter might be almost a third bigger. So that would be a huge jet. I can't imagine that being a very popular scale.
Patrick's posted a picture of the Russian shuttle on top of a.
Buran.
Is it?
It's a Buran on top of a bison.
Is it a bison? Is it?
Yeah, it's a version of a bison. They've changed the tail to fit the thing.
Oh, that's what you can get with the from thing, can't you?
Yeah, A model do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were going to build one, then, weren't you?
No.
No.
Simon's saying, Phil and Matt, do members qualify for a discount at the PM Models store? No, because we do specials for you. That's how that works. There is a discount code there, and occasionally we do throw open discounts, has been in the past, and you just pop the code in. That's why there's a discount code box, and they come up periodically. But at the moment, we're doing members discounts for the early release stuff, such as what we got up at the moment, Andy.
I can tell you one secondo. At the moment, we have the Zvezda MI-24. It's on pre-order. The Tamiya Zeros, the pre-order is pretty much finished on that. We're waiting for them to come in.
Yeah, end that one. You can end that one.
Yeah, but if I do it, then I can't get rid of it, can I? Yeah, well, I'll say it's ended, yeah. The Zucamori 32nd Henschel 129.
Yep.
The new Audi R8, which Phil reviewed
Nice kit.
last week. We've got the new racing, where are we? BMW M6 GT3. Just looks like a nice kit. We've got the Rifle Models Challenger 2, which hopefully should be in 2 months.
End of the month, I think. All being well.
We've got the Bandai 1/2 Millennium Falcon.
With book.
With book.
With the Haynes manual, yeah. And we've also got the Tamiya 148th Russian medium tank T-55, which possibly might be out imminently.
Yeah. Again, due to obviously what's been happening around the world.
Yeah,
and,
it's all subject to, purely
it's-
because, yeah, as I say.
But also, again, the new pre-orders is subject to when stuff's going to be released, because obviously people shutting down and factories reopening and whatever. So, yeah,
Yes.
we have to play it a bit by ear at the minute with that.
Definitely. The only trouble. Sorry, go on.
So as new stuff comes out, we'll keep updating it, and there is something we've been looking at, which is a bit different, to say the least, which we're looking to get in soonish, aren't we, Matt?
Yeah, take your word for it, 'cause I can't remember.
About 3 foot long and round.
On Target says, I've just started getting into scale modelling. My model shop had a special half for all ammo MiG products. Thinking of investing in them. Are they any good compared to AK Interactive? Well, there's a story all on its own. Obviously, a lot of MiG products are very, very similar. That's how I'm going to describe it. to AK Interactive products, because obviously Mr. Mig used to work for AK Interactive before he went on his own again. Or did he? I don't know. It's a little bit difficult to keep up with all the companies and things, but because it was Mig originally, then AK, then Mig, I think, then whatever. Anyway, so consequently there is a crossover with all the products. So but again, like I say, with everything, it's one of those things where if you want to give it a whirl and go for it, I'm not one to comment. You know, you can just do like I do normally and just make up your own, or you can buy them, or whichever. Like we said before, if time's an issue, you know, it's easy just to have a bottle of something and grab it and go, you know. So that's the thing with it.
Can I just stop you for 1 second, Phil? Nathan, what are you doing?
Making some milliput.
I thought you'd been
Up.
got either at the side of you and playing with.
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh time.
I need to do a bit of work on the wing root area on this thing.
That looks like hard milliput.
It is rock hard because it's freezing in here.
It
Takes a little while to get going.
like it in the microwave or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, when it's cold, it's a nightmare.
it is freezing. We've had an RLM 66 question. I've not used the Vallejo Air RLM 66, so I can't comment if it's too dark, Rob, but I mean RLM 66 is a dark grey.
Panzer grey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really dark colour.
Just think of your scale effect.
Yeah, I mean, I use the Hataka one, which is a good match, I think. And another question more generally is, Frederick is looking for a new scribing tool. He's been looking at the MRP Black Narrow Scriber, and Andy's holding up the UMM one. They're nice because of the size. I've got this goddamn panel line scriber. I think the smaller the tool, the better. The problem with some of the
She
He
said.
said,
problem is like alpha cutters is sometimes they're massively bigger than what you're trying to scribe.
I mean, the Tamiya is basically just a rebranded alpha cutter, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think the problem with them is once you're trying to scribe a small area, this is just too big.
the thing is, I think the P cutter, the Tamiya one, is great for doing straightforward, straight lines.
Yeah.
But if you need to start putting curves on or anything else like that, or as I say, a little bit lighter, shall we say, then I think it's too big a tool for it. You need something that's a little bit more refined.
I think everybody starts off with the trumpeter one.
Which actually I think is a good one. I like it.
I still like the trumpeter. It's a nice, handy one to use. And then, obviously, the Tamiya one.
Yeah.
But I definitely prefer using the UMM one. It's nice. Nice size, shape. It's got two ends that you can use. And it just, I don't know, it just fits in your hand naturally. It's just a nice... You know, I've been describing this as we've been talking. And most of it I've done by hand. It's nice and easy to control.
You can describe that a template. If you've got quite a steady hand, it will.
Yeah.
It's like a rose with a riveter. It will sort of stay where you want it to go rather than veer off. Where I find the Tamiya one and the proper, I can't use them. I just think they're just clumsy.
So basically, you've got the number one, which Andy's holding up there. You've got the number two, which is that way, and then you've got the number three, which is the long one.
Yeah, I've just got the number one, but I do like using that one. So.
But again,
By
the thing
default.
is, and I do it, you can push with this. It's got a push mode, which actually, a lot of the time, I push rather than pull. Just find it's a lot more controllable, especially if you're going around corners. If you want to do a curve and that, the push mode is far, far nicer than it is on the pull. Because the pull, you can't really see what you're doing, but the push you can.
The advantage of as well with the blade, you can get into wing roots and all sorts where you can't with a pea cutter.
No. So like in here, and I've got to do it on this, so you can just sort of come in with this, and then it sort of comes around the corner, and you can just literally pop it in like that. And you can't do that with a the old one, with a normal one, so you can just sort of come along and you can go around a corner and then in. And as I say, you can't do that when you're dragging, so they're great for going around corners.
Sure, if guys are putting photos into chat, I mean, everything's been in up to now fine, but can you just be careful what size images you can put in, because sometimes it could be massive images and you end up having to scroll up and down a lot to try and keep in touch with the chat to put big images in.
So if we're back to scribers, what some people swear by is using one of these razor saws.
Yeah.
And I think this is quite nice because of the teeth on it. It's got that little bit of resistance.
So yours isn't a proper one, Nathan.
Well, mine's all busted and broken, but
Well, that's say because the proper ones are supposed to have half the side of it missing.
yeah. But I sometimes find,
Like that.
yeah, that's the one. But I sometimes find, especially if you're going over the front of a wing like that, just having the saw, and again it'll put a panel in, pushing and pulling. But I mean, scribing's one of those dark arts. It just
Practice.
horrible sort of skill to learn because you end up slitting and filling 90% of your time, but a bit of perseverance and you get there.
Yeah, when on this I've slipped on one line underneath, but a bit of sand in it'll be fine and it's underneath so you can't see it. So.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got a few.
It is practice with scribing, isn't it, really?
Yes.
Yeah,
Just to get used to your tool, whatever your preferred tool is.
I've got a few errant.
I do like using, we were talking about it last time, about what to use as a scribing template, and I do like to use the 3M tape just because it's dirt cheap. It goes round edges nice and easy, so you can sort of like go over fuselage spines and it contours with it. So you don't get like the funny off straight line you get sometimes. Oh, Keith said, did I remember to nose weight him again? I did, Keith. I put some nose weight in the front part of the engine bitty bit in there, and I also ended up building a box out of plasticard that slipped underneath the cockpit. So it's got quite a bit of nose weight in it, to be honest with you. It'd be certainly shouldn't be a tail sitter, quite a bit in it.
I don't think I'd be brave as Phil is to scribe that late in the painting process.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I'd be very nervous.
But the thing is, the great thing about doing it at this stage is that all you do is pop the panel line wash over the top, so you haven't got to repaint it. You just pop the wash in.
Yeah.
Then said, love to find a razor saw, but can't. But as of now, can't find one.
JAL, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the one I've got. This one's a.
Is it JLC?
This one's a
sorry, yeah.
Well, this one's a CMK one, which is it's a plastic handle. I've got loads of CMK blades. I've also got a JLC one, yeah. So weird. Which fair, I don't use for reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, Mark put a decent tip on that you can use the Tamiya masking tape for curves as a good scribe guide. No, I don't use that one. I think that's what it's most useful.
That's the GLC one.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Box and
a pretty box.
Pretty box and handle and everything. Plus I don't really know. I've got about 50 blades, and as you can see, I'm still on the original one I bought probably about 5 years ago.
Might be time for a change, Andy.
It might be.
What, a bit like his filter?
Yeah, it's like
that filter's unused.
It's like a Flory Sandy. You buy one and never need another one again.
Tell me about it. As ever, when I'm making up this milliput, I've made up about 10 times as much as I actually need.
That's me brush. I just had it here a minute ago. Okay.
Is it still true that you have to buy UMM scribers direct from manufacturer in the States?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I don't think John does them through other people.
Shame, because it's sell tons if you did.
Thing is, John is a very small, very similar to me.
Really?
He's a quite a small business. So like he says, he does a lot of shows as well. So consequently, he knows what stock he's got. So it's easier to be able to judge how much you're doing and everything. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas obviously it's one of those things. I've just noticed that it's got a bit of a sink mark in there. Jesus.
What's that?
I think it's a rocket pod for it. It's got a huge sink hole in
I
it.
think you ought to check that the Uruguayans use rocket pods.
It's alright, mine won't have it. Doesn't need it. Bro
No,
says,
it's got massive
Nathan,
sink.
read your blog on the Luftwaffe SIG. Nicely done. Thanks again. The SIG website is now bookmarked for future reference.
Happy days.
What's our opinion on the 172nd Hobby Boss Black Widow?
Good. Best one, I think, in scale.
Yes. Better than
All
the
three of them.
48th one, where apparently your legs have to be about 4 to 7 feet long to be able to reach the rudder pedals.
Yeah, but that, minor technicality, that.
You have to have blocks on your rudder pedals. They're so far
be
away
honest,
from where your feet go.
If you're going 48, if you get the Great Wall Hobbies one, that's fantastic kit. That is
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But 72nd wise, you're up against the old Airfix one, which is old, the old Dragon one,
Yeah.
and then the Hobby Boss one with all three versions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Fair enough.
I don't know about how the pilot sits to his controls.
It's like having the driver's seat taken out and he's in the back.
You need that MiG pilot of yours, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. He'd reach. It's
And
probably what it's
Luke.
modelled on.
Yeah.
Paul saying he spilt 5 litres of gloss white once over his conservatory. Nice.
Oh.
Good.
Oh,
Is that like worth letting it go hard first, then trying to scrape it all off? Jesus, nightmare.
you were popular.
Yeah. Phil, what's the safest way of sanding clear parts edges without damaging them? Very carefully. To be honest with you, I did do a bit of a thing about parts cleanup and all the rest of it and sanding in our fantastic tutorials section. Where is it? It's in here. Go to tutorials and then in the bite size, which I think is down here. We basically did one about removing parts and parts cleanup down in here. If that is muted, and then down in here somewhere I have, that's cleaning it. Where is it? Clean up parts. We were talking about scrape cleaning, and then here we go, clean up parts. So that's it. There's actually a video on that showing it of how to clean up the parts on the edges, and this bit I've got a polisher in here, to be honest, cleaning up afterwards. But one thing I would recommend is masking it first, that way you don't accidentally scratch it. But this is all about cleaning up, removal of the part from the sprue and then cleaning it up afterwards. So that's how, like, the Phantoms have famously got a big old peg that comes off there from the sprue onto it, and how to clean that up so you've got nothing left on there. So it's actually in there. So go off, have a look at the bite size section, and it's in the tutorials area. Just click on there on the site. It's free to watch. You can pop in there, you can see it, and it'll show it down in there just like that. That'll be your easiest and your quickest way. Can you recommend a silver paint to use on a swordfish? Oh god, this is all jumped. Sorry, I've missed a load there. I'll do that one and then we'll come back. Sorry, it's jumped. Silver paint, personally, I must admit, I'm quite. It depends obviously what you're using. If you're using your lacquers or your acrylics, that's where it depends. So I need a little bit more info on acrylic ways. Do not use Tamiya's like X11 in it, because it's like it's like glitter. It's not nice at all. So from that point of view, from the acrylic range, I quite am a fan of the Vallejo acrylic metal colours. Again, it's just getting used to using them and understanding them. They take a little bit of playing with, so you get the hang of it, but that's quite nice from an acrylic point of view. If you're stepping up into the lacquers, that side of it, then obviously going for a silver paint and not a metallizer finish. So from a silver point from lacquers, my favourite, to be honest, I used it on the Gloucester Gladiator recently, is the Tamiya, which is what, LP11?
LP11, yeah.
LP11, which is this one. It's a beautiful colour. It's nothing like their acrylic one, thank God, because this one has got a very, very fine pigment and it comes out absolutely gorgeous. And I can show you a quick picture of it, I'm sure. If we just pick over to the web a second. Here we go. Here's my Gladiator that we used in it. And here it is. So yes, that's the silver. So it's got a proper silver look to it, so it's got that nice, but as you can see there's no graininess to it. It hasn't got like a fleck or anything else like that, unlike the 11. This one's actually very nicely done with that one, so it came along very nicely, so no problem with that one. So that's quite a good one to use. Again, you have got other little options out there, but I think that's where I would go. That's the ones I like. They've got the nicest silver look, I think.
Yeah.
The new Mr. Colour Super Metallics are nice as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Them ones.
Yes.
Doing various shades and things, but all available from
A said store.
Yes. Sorry guys, trying to paint. This is it. This is Ian. He's got a question in. He's saying, sorry guys, trying to paint the 30-second Tamiya F15E for a friend. He wants green showing through the gunship grey. How do I choose it? I take it you mean the primer chromate greeny colour they have underneath them. So to be honest with you, that's a standard chipping effect. So, you know, I would do it as is the thing. So put the green down first, and then you could go with the chipping fluid or something else on top, hairspray technique, or you could use, what do you call it, masking oils underneath, and then literally chipping through it to have it to come through, because that's how it is on the real things. It's just that, you know, it wears through, it gets chipped, it shows through, and then you've got that greeny primate colour underneath. So that's literally how I would do it. To go off, you want to see some old ones on that. If you want to see the mask oil technique, have a look at the Sea Vixen, because that's how I did that. So mask oil on a sponge, and you just lightly tap it all over where you want it, and then paint it as you would normally, and then you just pick it, and then you can tear it and scrape it. That comes through really nicely. Or you can use, as we were talking about the other day on this, using your normal techniques of, you know, chipping fluids. So you can either use the hairspray technique, or you can actually go out and buy different ones. We were talking about the other day, I've got out there Vallejo's chipping fluid, things like that, and go at it on that technique as well. I probably wouldn't go down the salt chipping technique on something like that, because you want it quite localized in areas, so you can just put it exactly where you want it.
Jamie, the master of chipping, who believes in chat, did a really good tutorial. It was at I think it was a model show in Belgium.
God, that's a few year old.
It is, isn't it? And that was using hairspray technique, wasn't it? It's a really good one to show.
He's also released a book on it as well.
Yeah.
He owes me for
Get
this.
the book out.
You're on commission, Phil.
Yeah, am I on commission for
Couple
this,
of beers.
Jamie? Before I show them it. So he's also done a very nice book which shows you all about weathering and chipping and different techniques right the way through. So yeah, and I'll take the 50 quid in the post, payable too.
I'd take a copy of the book if there's any spare. I ain't got that book.
And this is it.
No.
So yes, but if you, for weathering, I have to say, and I'm not just blowing sunshine up a said person's ass, but he is very, very good at it. But yes, so that's the one you want.
It is a good book.
Done by said modeler.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, very, very good, excellent. But honestly, if you ever want to do any type of weathering, have a read, because yes.
Phil, is there a product placement in there, one of your sanders?
I don't know, has he put one in?
Yeah, there is.
Oh,
Yeah.
as long as he has,
yeah.
I'll let him off then.
Is it at the beginning?
So yes, very good. But there we go, chipping. That's the section I was looking for. There's a whole section on chipping in here.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
So, are you ready for an F-14 question?
Go on then.
You have to sort of picture yourself sat in the pilot's seat, and there's a piece of string
Yeah.
dangling away just
Yeah.
in front of him.
Yeah.
We've worked out it's to sort of like do sort of a side slip sort of
Yeah.
thing. Do you know what it's called?
I don't know the official name for it, but yeah, that's what it is. It's just show, you know, if there's the wind coming in from the side and all the rest of it.
Just seems like such a low-tech solution on such an advanced aircraft, but David just put a picture of it upon the chat, and is it literally just a piece of string?
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Mind you, simple ways are the best ways, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, it just sort of you can see, you know, what's going on and all the rest of it. So
Neil, while we're on about chipping, is asking what's the best chipping fluid to use with the Hataka orange line paints.
Matt.
Probably any of them. Hairspray to the worn effect, to the heavy chipping, to Vallejo's chipping. They'll all work. It's just the time of it drying to chip in. If you leave it too long, the lacquer will just neutralise the chipping fluid. So really, as soon as the paint's sort of dry, within a few minutes, you can probably start chipping.
Right.
And don't obviously
yes.
put heavy coats on. That's the trick to chipping, is not too heavy coat, because obviously you got to get through to the chipping fluid. So.
David says hello to us all from the Philippines.
Hello, Philippines.
Hello, Philippines. Philippines calling.
Gary says, Matt, will you be stocking the HK 32nd scale Phantom? You know, they were doing a 32nd scale Phantom.
Yeah,
I
been
saw
talking
that on
about this for a
Facebook this
while
morning.
now.
It'll be one of those that's order only, won't it, Matt?
Yeah, because is it the Royal Navy one they're doing?
Apparently.
I've seen
Yeah.
some on Facebook about it, but it was like an app 4 years ago.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that it's a rumour gets started. Yeah, the company
Yeah.
says they're going to do, and then you don't hear anything else. It's like, where is it then?
Well, if it's out, yeah, we'll stock it. It's a Phantom, innit? Talking to Phantom, they're not back in. I haven't put them back in because they've only just not arrived. But the Zukimori J's and D's will be back in. So.
That's weird. You go onto Scalemates and click on companies that say they've got it in stock,
Yeah, and everybody's got it, have they?
and it takes you to the Lancaster.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's a bit of an urban myth or not.
I don't know.
That's one of those, let's wait till we see some shots of the parts or the mould. It's a bit like the Italeri tornado that was rumoured for years, and it was like, is it ever going to come out?
This year, Nathan,
This year, yeah.
perhaps.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah, this virus is definitely must be putting quite a few manufacturing schedules out.
God, yeah.
Gotta be, isn't it?
And let's be honest, Italy don't need much excuse.
Yeah, by the looks of it, the Phantom went on to HKM's Facebook page about 5 years ago.
So it's one of those things that Facebook has just randomly dug up somewhere.
Yeah, that happens, doesn't it?
Be nice to get a 30-second scale Buccaneer to go with it.
How about a Hawk in 1/24 scale? Airfix could do the Red Arrows boxing. No, I don't think you'll ever see that.
I think the Revell did the 32 one, and that sort of struggled to shift, didn't it?
Yeah.
Remember, they were selling them off for pennies. some point.
Will we see a review of the MI24 48 scale from Zvezda? Yes, you will. Yeah, as soon as they're in, say they're due in ish, anytime now ish. So as soon as they come into stock, we'll have a review done for you.
What was that one for?
For the
Yeah.
Hind.
Zvezda. Don't know why, but I found that really hard brand name to pronounce.
Zvezda.
Just say star instead.
It's just Russian for star, isn't it? Yeah.
How do you... Sorry, hi. Do you have a good all-round primer colour? And do you need to thin it with an airbrush? Well, priming is that usual thing where, you know, for the colour, depends on really what you're doing, just to save a bit of time. Prime is normally grey, white, or primer colour. If you're doing anything that's like red or orange or yellows and stuff like that, you're better off using a white primer, purely because it just makes it easier to put the paint down. Matt will go into the ins and outs of that, clearly. What colour primer did you use on that one, Matt?
What, on a white car?
Yes.
Grey, actually.
But again, it's one of those things where, you know, as I say, you can just put grey down and then you can just overcoat it quickly with a coat of white before you go in with the real colour, if you wanted to do it that way. Again, as for thinning it, as I say, you can have pre-done ones. I'm quite a fan of the AK one, which I have right here, which is the AK primer filler micro one, AK 758. No problem at all. But recently, I must admit, I have switched over to Mr. Primer Surfacer 1000. Just fine, it goes down and it's as hard as nails. No problem at all with that. Been using that one for the last few builds. Actually really like it. Dries very quickly, smooth, nice finish to it, nice satin finish, and away you go with it. So from that point of view, you just thin that to what you like as well. So I'm filling that around about 60-70% thinners to sort of, you know, 40-30% the actual primer. Nice light coats going down, giving me a really nice fix with it. So that's it. But you can use priming anything at all. Like, you know, I use XF19 grey Tamiya. Again, goes down really, really nicely, no problem. My go-to one if I ever need a quick prime job. So yes,
You can't go wrong with a grey primer because it's neutral.
absolutely.
Unless, of course, you're doing reds or whatever, then you need a white primer or oranges and yellows because they're just not great coverers. You'll just be forever. It's very rare you really need a black primer. Again, you want that solid looking white, which I think Phil was hinting at of what colour I primed me Audi in. Then yeah, that does work. But because this was already kind of in white plastic, and to be honest, it got aerosol tanned in Tamiya's spray primer, and I use I use this stuff anyway, so it covers really well. So, you know, but yeah, just a grey primer normally is just, you know, majority of colours will cover it really easily. Plus, as well, you can see your flaws easy as well.
Yes, absolutely. That's the main point to it.
It's with a grey, because white primer it don't show up very well. Obviously, looking at the Javelin is hard to see.
Yeah.
Black primer can be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we recommend a good silver paint to use on the Swordfish? To be honest, I would say LP11 if you want a lacquer, because that's what I used on the Gladiator. It's the same thing. So, you know, for me, that's a really nice colour silver for it. Works really well. But like Matt said, if you haven't got that, the Super Metallics 2, that's really nice as well. That's got good coverage, very good pigment. Yeah, again, depends if you're lacquer or acrylics. That's the thing. Which camp are you in? He'll come back and say enamel, won't he? Right.
I would say while we're on Tamiya enamel silver is really nice if you can get it. I mean, I know it depends if you're in the States. I think it's readily available, isn't it? But if you can order it from Hong Kong or Taiwan on eBay, I really like the Tamiya enamel.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of an odd. It's difficult to get over.
I was going to say over here, it's hen's teeth, isn't it? That's the trouble.
Yeah.
High altitude hobbies. Our Brett is on and watching whilst he's working.
Hello.
Good morning, Brett. Hi all. If we hit the like button, then Phil and his crew will have a great day. We will, Ed.
Yes.
Definitely, I agree. Hit the like button. We've had now for 2 days on the boats over 100 likes.
Yeah.
So that's good. Apparently Mig was part owner of AK Interactive, but without the legal paperwork on it due to his divorce proceedings, went on and they started AK. Okay. As I say, I don't really want to get involved in other people's businesses and things, so we'll avoid that question, purely because I don't know and I don't want to get into trouble. Apparently there's a breakdown of his history. Okay. Okay, Matt says, scribing and me have a love-hate relationship. Love it when it's done. Yeah, I think pretty much we're all like that. Although I quite find riveting extremely therapeutic. I actually enjoy the art of riveting. If I could enjoy scribing like it, I would, but yeah.
Shall I rivet this then?
I think you should. Send it over, I'll do it. Just need a rivet guide and I'll do it.
Surface to rivet.
Yeah. Steve says, do you guys ever use black basing as a pre-shading, or do you use normal pre-shading or no shading method at all? I think we're all different in different ways. Black basing I don't get at all. Again, I've been quite vocal over it. I really just don't get it. Again, it tends to be one of those things. It comes around, it's very popular I think in the 70s and in the 80s, and then it died a death and everyone went to pre-shading, and then that died off and everyone just went to post-shading. And again, like I always say with these things, it's horses for courses, as in it's really up to you. If you get on with it and you enjoy that technique, then knock yourself out with it. It's just definitely not for me. I don't understand it at all. Don't get it. But again, with me, it depends on what I'm doing. Like this one particularly, because of the camo effect and with the stripy bits and pieces on this one, for instance, there's no point pre-shading it at all. So what I'm going to do with this one is post-shade it, but I'm not going to post-shade it with an airbrush. I'm going to post-shade it with oils and do it all by hand, because I enjoy doing that as well. I find it quite therapeutic.
Quite like the marbling effect. Start with black and then marble grey in. So I'm doing like I'm pre-shading, but not necessarily following the panel lines. I quite like doing that. So, but it depends on the mood, to be honest. If I've got black paint floating around, I might black base, but I don't religiously do it.
How can it do that? Really?
What?
Bugger!
What have you done?
I've lost the... Ah, no. I just watched it as well, where it went, and it's not there.
Have you just pinged something off?
Yes. Live on YouTube, I've just pinged the light off. Clear spot. Oh, no, it's that bit. The other one of them, look. The little light indicator. And it's just pinged off. And I watched it go. And now I can't see it.
I must admit, that's the worst one, where you know where it landed, and you go there and it's not there. It's like, well, where is it?
Watch it, it'll be my shoe or something. My shoes were down there, my trainers. I'm gonna find it. I'm going in. I'll be back in about an hour. See you in a bit.
See you later.
Thanks for doing the questions. How many hours does it take to make a 1/48 scale plane, like a P-51 or an F-18 Hornet or a 35th scale Tiger II or Abrams? Again, that's literally how long's a bit of string. I think in my old days when I used to do commission work, I always used to say a 48 scale aircraft was basically 30 hours work. That's what I was charging. So that's how I used to roughly do it. But then you're into the realms where if you start adding photo etch, if you're adding a little bit of resin to it, if you're doing like a custom paint job or markings like this thing's have and stuff like that, then obviously your hours are going to be a lot more into it. So literally it is that little thing. I always used to start 30 to 40 hours, from a commission point of view when I was working out pricing, and that's where I'm going to be at, and then you sort of go from there really and can build on it.
Depends how far down the rabbit hole you jump with detailing, doesn't it?
It is, yeah, and also it depends on what type of builder you are, isn't it? If you're, building quite a lot, and you're like pretty up to speed on it, then it's not so bad. But if you're just doing one kit and you're watching a bit of YouTube or listening to something, you've got a few distractions. It can go on forever and ever, can't it?
Yeah.
Found a track link.
just going to block that person.
Oh, yes. JP and Mully Vlogs.
Everybody idiot.
Yeah.
We've got a spammer.
Got a spammer.
Spammer. Guess
My
what?
first
Spammer.
spammer. I feel I feel like that's it. We've made it now. Oh, he's found his light. We're okay. World can carry on.
I found it. I said I found a track link as well.
He's just found a load of parts he never knew he had.
Probably, yeah, I have. But look, oh god, that was lucky. Right, can carry on there.
Carry on.
Whew, watch it, I'll drop it again now, and that will be it.
Andy, unmute yourself.
No.
I can see your lips are moving, but nothing's coming out.
Whoopsie daisy.
Christmas, got a question for you, Nathan.
Yep.
Tom's question. Seems like the GL1s on standby or pre-flight have the wings out and flaps up.
Yep.
Is this how they're normally parked?
Yeah. Because it's going to make putting weapons on a bit easier, having the flaps up. But air brakes, and up to you. Air brakes will be up, down, and all over the place. But if you got your flaps deployed, I imagine the weapons loaders would have something to say if they were trying to put weapons on. But wings forward, definitely, or unswept.
Can
Well, it
the
looks over the
tornado be? Can it put its wings back on the ground, fully retracted, or does it fall over backwards when it's fueled?
This is one of those things where, yes, in theory, I know they could land with the wings swept
Yeah.
as an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
There's this thing that they would just tip
like
over.
350 knots? You need a 12-mile runway.
I mean, Jamie's on the chat. Hopefully, he'll chip in and say. But I believe they could sweep their wings. Certainly, aircraft in museums have got their wings swept and the nose is touching the floor.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be normal to do it.
Tornadoes had arrestor hooks, didn't they?
They did have an emergency arrestor hook, yeah.
Yeah, so if you had to, you've always got that for an emergency brake, haven't you?
Mind you,
Yep.
yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? I'm sure Jamie can chip in on this one, but surely they must have a top speed. So if you were coming in at like 350 knots and you hit the arrestor gear, I'm sure you'd run out before it brought you to a halt, or you end up dragging it down the runway.
I'm just waiting for Jamie to chip in, but I
Is he
just
still in
think
chat?
Because I'm pretty
think
sure,
they-
wasn't it? I remember a few years ago we were at Riyadh when the F-15 landed and he had no brakes.
yeah.
So he had to land at Lynham back in the day because that's got a really long runway. So they've got the arrestor gear as well to stop him, but it's got a really long runway enough to sort of slow it all down and all the rest of it. So, but that's the diversion airfield for it.
Yeah, I don't think James is in chat anymore.
Has he dropped out? Well, maybe it's a question he'll pick up for tomorrow. But I know the tornadoes later on, they would keep the nose up and try to avoid using sort of reverse thrust and
Aerodynamic
heavy
braking.
Yeah, but if you're going to display a tornado in sort of pre-flight, especially a Gulf War one, I think it looks cool with the flaps down, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I did mine with the flaps down and the thingies up, the spoilers up, because I think it looks nicer.
I've seen them on the ground with the flaps down,
Yeah.
and at Riyadh I've got pictures of one with the flaps down. So
Well, the thing is, I think with the tornado, it uses the old screw mechanism, doesn't it, for the gear? So it's not like it's hydraulic, and then when the hydraulics die off, it all sags like you get on Russian aircraft, because they're hydraulically driven. I think because they're a screw form as well, it's not like when the hydraulics bleeds off, they all go floppy.
No, it's not like that at all.
So,
Seeing if anybody in YouTube chat has got. And while we're on to tornadoes, I just after my eyesight. Telescoper Replicator, I think, found that the paint colour for the B-25 and possibly the Tornado, these are some funny paint mixes, Revell 35 Flesh with a little bit of 88.
again, it's one of those things mixing up, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, my eyesight's going a bit. Yeah, I think Jamie must have dropped out of chat, so hopefully we can pick that question up tomorrow. But I mean, I remember we had this debate a couple of years ago. We went to Lossiemouth and we saw tornadoes with air brakes up, air brakes down. So, yeah.
Yeah, Steve posted up in the forum. He's all right. He's had a shoulder injury. I don't know what he's been doing with Andy, clearly. But Steve says, I haven't seen Steve for a while. Is he well? Yeah, he was in the forum yesterday, over the weekend.
Yeah. Shoulders are one of those really awkward injuries, aren't they?
Yeah. Mine's generally fine most of the time until I get to bed. And it keeps me awake all night.
No comment. I'm biting my lip. He's worn it out.
It's probably because I lie on that side all the time, you see, so because that's the opposite direction to where Shell is. So.
That's the other way. Peter says, hi Phil. Hello Peter, nice to have you here. Hi guys, I'm wondering what primers you use. Right, so what do you lot use? You've heard what I use. What do you use, Andy?
What was that, sorry?
What primer?
Primer? I either use AK primer, either that one,
Yep.
or that one.
Cool. Same as me. Cool.
Yeah, either of them two.
Nathan?
If I'm priming properly, and then for white, I use Alclad primer
Yeah.
for the white. If I'm not priming properly, I use the Tamiya lacquer paints.
Mm-hmm.
I think they work well as a primer.
Yeah. No, I will do.
In the F16 that I've got, I mean, I've only done one coat. The F16 here is just black, the Tamiya black, with a bit of rapid thinner. But I've never got into primers. I've always just used paint.
Yeah.
I'll show you mine.
Here he comes.
Oh wait, here we
One of
go.
them, some of that,
And the good
bit
old
of
can.
that. Hold on, I haven't finished yet.
Oh my god.
I've got some of that. I'm sure I've got some others, hold on. Oh, that's it here, just them.
I also
I'd
use
say-
for the bigger projects, I use these.
I was just getting the same out as well. I've got Halfords.
Is it high coats? I've got grey primer for plastic, which works well, and I've also got this one as well for white. So I tend to use these though, to be honest, when I'm doing props. So when I do my film proppy bits and stuff like that, I tend to not, because they're bigger, like the guns and stuff, I tend to use these.
Yeah, so I do like Halfords primer as well, but obviously that's only available in this country.
I've used Games Workshop grapple can primer in the past as well, but it's a bit pricey.
Right.
Murray says the Tornado F3s could sweep the wings back on the ground and off taxied this way, but the GR1, GR4 couldn't due to the different centre of gravity.
I don't know. I don't know if there's an element of urban myth to that. We need a tornado pilot to confirm it.
Yeah, somebody wake him up.
Somebody go give him a poke.
I imagine if it was fueled up, I don't know, we'd have to speak to a tornado pilot about fuel loads and weapons. And
Again, I had that nice picture the other day of that SU-24 on the ground, wasn't it? And it had all the crew tied a rope around it, pulling it down, because they'd fueled it wrongly, and it was fueled at, obviously at the rear, tank first, and it flipped up.
Yeah.
So trying to tame the wild SU-24.
Lynn says Nathan's model will have a very thin skin if he keeps that up.
This is me just getting rid of the scratches, ready for a primer coat, waiting for the polish.
What scale is the kit now?
It's about 170, I think now, is it?
Yeah.
176. It'd go the other way, wouldn't it?
It'll be 1144 by the time he's finished.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to do the on test.
Right, hold on.
The little jaws. Hold on, I've got
Hold
to
on,
shake
I'm
it.
gonna-
Carry on.
No, I'm going to make you full screen.
Right, could be ages yet. This
Keep
needs
shaking.
waking up.
I'll make you a bit smaller so it's not quite as blurry.
Is that the orange line, Matt? Blue line?
Red line.
Red line. So they kept the old caps then, have they? Or the...
This is an old one. I don't know because I intended this is an oldish. This is out of that set. A panel lighting set. So it's a modulation set. Make sure.
While you're just getting set up, Knight Templar on YouTube he's just getting back into the hobby since the 90s. He's been bombarded by shed loads of products. But
Yeah.
Phil and PM do me a complete starter set into German armour.
Funny you mentioned that. Might have a paint set coming out soon.
There you go. That's not a bad idea, actually. Kit and paint all in one go, isn't it?
No.
We've talked about it in the past, haven't we?
Yeah. It's what people want to use though, isn't it? With like acrylics, lacquers, or like enamel products for weathering. Because there's so much stuff out there, and it's what people like to use, if you know what I mean, or prefer to use because of the environment that they're modelling in.
Yeah.
So, right, let's give this a go.
Here we go.
Right, talk us through it then.
Hold on, I'm just putting the 3 drops in, and then we'll do it.
All right, okay. Quick couple of questions here whilst Matt's just doing that. Phil, is Hans still part of the Flory Models? Yes, he is, although we don't see him anymore. I think he's just very busy. So, you know, like I always say, don't forget, it's a bit like these guys you're seeing on the screen here with me. You know, they're not paid. They do it for the love.
Aren't we?
Speak for yourself.
Well, you are, sort of. Put Nathan on the payroll. So the thing is, it's that thing, yeah, they do it for the love of it, but they've usually got real jobs as well. So it's finding that sort of work-life balance and doing this as well. So like I always say, I never put any pressure on any of them. They do it. If they want to do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. So I have no control over them. They're literally like herding cats, literally.
Right.
Right.
Shall we start then?
Go on
so,
then.
Vallejo airbrush thinner. I was going to say airbrush cleaner then. Airbrush thinner. So we'll try that first. We'll have a few drops of that. See what happens with that. Right, this is the proper attacker. So this is obviously going to work. We'll have a drop of that. And then this one at the end.
X28.
X28. A couple of drops of that. And we'll see what happens.
I'd have thought all of them would have worked with that.
So would I.
Well, the middle one is that one, so like it's
Yeah.
attack, so that's going to work. So we'll go for these two for obvious reasons. So try the X20A, and what's in there, but that works absolutely fine. Yeah, that's fine. No problem with that. No good to chewing gum.
Yeah.
So that's all right. So X28 looks like it's going to work. Let me just clean the stick off.
Do you know their own thinner, Matt? What does it smell like?
Nothing. Nothing at all. And then Vallejo airbrush thinner. Seems okay. Needs a good stir. Yeah, that's fine. Tell you the one I didn't try it with actually. I'll just go get another example because I've got life colour as well. And their own one's fine, obviously.
So just out of interest as well, what happens if you put lacquer in it?
It goes to chewing gum.
It does go chewing gum.
Yeah, it goes to chewing gum. I did it the other week, to be honest. And then you overthin it. It will work, but it's one of them like you had with that extra acrylics. You've got to keep thinning it and thinning it and thinning it, and then it'll go. But
Best avoid it then.
That's the. You see that on camera.
Yeah.
That's the Vallejo airbrush thinner. It don't mix as well as its own. Obviously, its own thinner. There's a few bits, but it's fine. It will work. That's its own thinner. And that is X28. So yeah, can't see it being a problem with any of them, to be honest.
So if you were going to spray something tomorrow, which thinners would you use?
Their own, if I'm honest.
Right.
I'd try and stick with their own thinners. The trick is with it, I've noticed, I think even with, definitely with their own thinners, is to put a drop of that in it.
Right.
Just a drop of flow improver in it, don't have to make a lot of difference from tip drying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or anybody else's flow improver, obviously, but that's the one I've got. So, if I had something, I could do I'll set myself up on one day this week and I'll do a proper spray test.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just see what the tip dry's like, and you know, without any flow improver, I'll just do it with thinners.
Yeah.
And we'll have a go. We might do it tomorrow or Wednesday or whenever. So set up a little test.
Yeah.
Yes, they're fine. Look, no clogging, or you know, it's nice and smooth.
Mhm.
So can't see it being an issue.
Very nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Can I just reply to Adrian in chat? He says, "Hi chaps, I'm trying to load some pictures to my swordfish build in work in progress. Do I just do a reply or start a new topic? Thanks for the extra show, much appreciated at this time." Just reply to your own thread, Adrian. So
Yeah.
you know, it keeps it's easy for people to follow along. If you put them all at the top, it makes it difficult for people to follow your progress. Because if they've already seen pictures, they'll go to where they last were. So it's easy if you just like carry on from where you've gone down, then people will see them as they're going on.
Yeah. Definitely. Peter's building the Tamiya 148 scale BF 109 G6. What is the best matte coat to put on top of the decals? I've already used TS13 gloss clear coat underneath. I would just use whatever you usually use. You know, whatever's your go-to flat coat. Personally, I like Tamiya's acrylic FFX 86. So, but yeah, you know, whatever is your normal one, just remember, if you want it more flatter, just further away from your model, more satiny flat, then closer to your model, put it down wet and do it that way. But really, whatever you usually use, I wouldn't worry about it. As long as the undercoat, whatever you're going on top of, is dry, it doesn't matter what you're putting over it.
No.
Roger says, "Hi guys, what would the best gloss white in rattle cans be? Thanks."
Ooh.
Appliance white from
Halford. Halford's Appliance White. That was my standard white. Literally.
Seriously, that's brilliant. You've got a tin of that in your hand, eh?
No, I've got Halford's white primer, which that's like a satiny finish rather than matte finish, but it's quite a nice colour. It goes well for US Air Force white. Do you know what I mean? It's like slightly off-white, isn't it? Not pure white. Quite a nice colour that is, actually.
And to be honest with you, I know it's a primer, but that one there I used on the Saturn V for mine. That high coat stuff, and then I literally just gave it a gloss coat over the top to help that one along.
Tell you a really good. I know obviously we're in the UK, but Halford's plastic primer.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's a really good, and it don't off key. It don't off stick.
Yeah, well that's why I've been using. If you saw it, Matt, if you had your head down, but I'm using this one. Sorry, no, I'll tell a lie now. This is it. So this is I used this one, which I don't know if this is readily available everywhere else. Hold on, where am I? Oh, wrong one. Well, that one definitely back. And then we need this one up. So is that one high coat primer, and then gloss white just over the top.
Yeah.
And that's what I used on the Saturn V.
Yes.
Because it was no way I was ever going to spray it in here, so I just took it out in the carport and blasted it in there. And but yeah, this stuff it proper sticks. You can tell that because it stinks. I was out in the carport on quite a breezy day, and I had my respirator on. It still stunk.
Wow.
So yeah, it's good stuff, but it proper grips. Nothing's going to get that off. Fast drying. So good old high coat. I don't know if that's available worldwide or wherever. Trago Mills Special.
Is it Rust Summit is available in the States? There's one in the States. A few rattle cans out there. Oh God, Rust-Oleum, is it? Or something?
Big primer.
But another good, probably good gloss white is Tamiya's TS cans.
Yeah.
They're good as well.
Definitely better off putting a matte white down first, though, aren't you? Just going straight to gloss.
Yeah, I always put down like a prime white first, then gloss white on top of it, purely so it's got something to bite to. Otherwise, I find it bubbles up a bit.
Yeah, gloss white always is really thin.
Yeah, it beads up and doesn't cover very well.
Rubbish. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Christian says, phantom question, what 48th would you get? Academy, Zukamori, Hasegawa, Stroke Rebel? Depends on what.
Zukamori. It's
Mark.
Sam.
Yes, Sam!
Sam.
Live on YouTube.
Yeah, look.
Staying away from the lurgies.
Stay away, unclean.
Yeah, unclean.
Isolate yourself.
It depends on
Save
what
yourself.
mark you want, though, doesn't it? Because not all marks are available. Zukamori don't do all of the marks, do they? So if you wanted a British Phantom, then you're better off going with Hasegawa Stroke Rebel one, aren't you?
Yeah.
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 Aren't they going to do the British one soon?
I thought they was going to do one.
So there was a thing going round about it, yeah. Haven't seen anything on it yet, though.
Yeah, like Andy said, it depends which version you want.
Yeah. Bang for buck, though, we were discussing this because, as I say, the pricing keeps changing all the time for us coming in. Like, I always say the Academy one, because the Zukamori one's too expensive. But then a few months ago, the Zukamori one was the same price as the Academy one. So that way you do the Zukamori one. But, as I say, bang for buck for me, I quite like the Academy one. Done that one. That's all right. Haven't built the Zukamori one yet. It must
Like I
be
said,
time
if you want
for
a
another
British
Phantom.
one, it's the Hasegawa one, which you can get the Revelry boxing for 25, 30 quid.
Which is a real
Yeah.
bargain. It's a good kit.
Yeah.
Grab it because once it's gone, it'll be gone again, and
Yeah.
you'll be paying silly money for second-hand ones or whatever. What's he up to? Running around like a madman.
Needed a pee quick.
Exercise.
I can't pronounce your name, but it says, "Hi Phil, thanks for all you're doing. Greetings from Long Island, New York." Brett,
Hello.
keep safe and well.
Yeah. Stay indoors.
Stay indoors. Wash your hands. The Knights Templar says, "Afternoon, boys. Just got back into the hobby since the 90s. Been bombarded by some of the products. Could Phil and PM..." Oh yeah, sorry, you already read that one. Sorry, I'm working my way still down. We've done that.
What is the best bit of German armour to start with if you're going to pick a kit?
Oh, I'd go for a Tamiya. Tamiya 135th. Even one of the older kits, they'll go together. It's perfect. So cheap. Look, the Hanna Mags Brill, the old Panzer 4D. Yeah, they're under 20. They're under 20 quid.
King Tiger goes together really easy. It's a
Yeah.
slab-sided, easy build, big thing. Do you know what I mean? Easy to paint because it's big. Do you know what I mean? It's
The Jag Panther again. They're all, 25 and less, shall we say. But they're all perfectly buildable, good kits to begin with. So yes, definitely one of them.
Okay, what's our thoughts on using Windex as a thinner or airbrush cleaner? Well, we can't get it over here, can we anymore?
Nope.
It kills the fish.
I've got it.
And it's Bert. Sorry, Bert, not Brett. Bert. Apologies.
Yeah. I've got some that I have. God, I don't know. I think I got it off Amazon, to be honest with you. And it works really well for acrylics in airbrushes, cleaning them out and what have you. Not really used it on lacquer paints much, but
Like I say, we've not been able to get it over here. We can't make comment. It's not.
it's good. It's ammonia based, isn't it? And it's like,
Yeah. It's not.
That's why we
not
can't get it,
good.
isn't it?
That's why we can't get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's good at cleaning windows, though.
Yeah. Got one here. Hi, Phil and friends. Was impressed to
Unlike
find
my
out
wife.
by chance that the Italian Air Force donated years ago an F-104 Starfighter painted in Ferrari red to the Ferrari factory. That's available, wasn't it? Who did? Is it Italia? Who did the boxing? of it?
Italian.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
Italian.
what
You
is-
can actually get it with all the markings and everything on it.
That's the one I bought when I broke the canopy on my Starfighter. And I bought that kit because it was the cheapest kit you could buy. It's the Hasegawa kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
In it, and I bought it to replace the canopy, but then I ended up making one. Had some clear acetate.
I've never used a primer on any of my models, but somehow always got away with it. So why use a primer? Because you're lucky and got away with it so far. Basically, priming, I always say, I did a video on this a while ago, well, a short time ago, I was talking about it, and I was saying the thing is with priming, it's got two functions. First of all is to check your model. So if you've got seams and you've been filling it and rescribing it and re-riveting it and all the bits and pieces, you're literally using a primer to check it. Because whatever it looks like in primer is going to follow through in paint, and it's only going to get worse with every step you make on from that. So I always say, by priming your model, you can have a look at it, you can see exactly what you're going to get when the paint goes onto it, and it's far easier to take care of any mistakes, blemishes and stuff when it's in primer than it actually is when it's in paint. So from that point of view, it's straightforward, easy to do. And then obviously secondly, you've got your primer is obviously going to aid your paint going on in most cases, because obviously you've got something to grip to and adhere to and gets a better connection to the plastic, and then also for if you're doing something that's got lots of masking onto it, it's going to get better grip, so it's less likely to peel away, I think. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I'd just primer just for floors anyway, and just to make sure your paint's going to key, because you know that it's not worth the chance, is it, for a coat of primer?
Yeah, where I've skimped on it and I've masked it, I've ended up lifting paint off straight back to bare plastic, and then you spend more time trying to sand out that than you would have done to put a primer coat on.
I think we've all been there where we've tried to skimp it and it's caused you problems, rather than just taking an extra 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, to prime it. You know, it causes you problems. And
because to be honest, I didn't used to prime. If you go back through my videos, I didn't prime. I was never a mass primer, shall we say. Certain things I would prime, but you know, like if it was going to be a metallic finish, or you know, especially if you're using a, you know, something like a metallizer finishes and stuff like that, then I would always prime. But if it was just onto plastic, if you go back, I never used to prime particularly, you know. But again, I get bitten, and it's happened to me lots, especially when we're doing live stuff like this. I tend to take shortcuts everywhere. So if I'm doing like a full video build like we're doing on this, which is going to be, I don't know, probably a 10-parter, some of my big ones are up to 20-25 parts long, I'll take my time and we'll work right the way through it. But if it's a quick job, I might think skip it. And the last time I skipped it is when we did the Phantom, and then when I went to unmask the tail, I ended up taking it back down a bit of plastic. So I had to end up repainting it again, and it come back and bit me. So little things like that, it's that thing where you think, I know, I'm going to save myself 10 minutes here and not prime it, and then it bites me later on. So these days I tend to always prime. I tend to practice what I preach, because normally it is that thing. There it is, that's the one. Ferrari one's in the background, look.
Yeah, and is it called the Witcher, the one in the front?
Yeah, I think so, something like that, yeah.
So I'll definitely be priming this Gloucester Javelin, because I've sanded it to, well, I've sanded everything on this.
Like I said, that's a Hasegawa kit in the box, so it's a really good kit for the price.
That is I still think that Hasegawa kit stands up as a really good starfighter as well.
It's the best one, isn't it?
I think the kinetic one is a bit more refined, but for availability and price, there's nothing wrong with the old Hasegawa one, especially in that boxing.
Yeah.
One of the guys earlier on, I lost it now, says Matty's still taking orders.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
I'd say
Matt.
what you're gonna have to bear with us is stock levels, like I've said at the beginning of the show, because this weekend has been off the chart for sales, and I've done some reordering today, so they're going to be in sometime this week, hopefully in the next couple of days, especially for paints and everything. The only one, like I mentioned earlier, would be the Attacker paint line, because the company we get them from is closed. So when we're out of stock until they reopen. But Tamiya, Mr. Hobby should hopefully stay pretty well stocked up unless they run out of paint. Because I've heard today that one of the Tamiya factories is closed.
Right.
All right.
So, again, you know, that's going to take an effect at some point. So
Because Tamiya manufacture in the Philippines and China, don't they? And all
Is that
over.
where is that? I don't know.
Some of it, they manufacture in a couple of places.
Right. I don't know which one's
And
close.
Japan as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see. Ammo have closed today, apparently.
Ammo.
Yeah, because
Does anybody know if AK is still open?
I don't know, but there's new Spanish restrictions. I don't know if AK will be caught up in that as well or not.
Oh, right, okay.
I can see us getting more restrictions before it's finished.
Yeah, I think so.
So get your orders in quick. Drive Matt mad.
No, it's fine.
One of the guys says, "What's the issue getting Windex in the UK?" It's purely because it's ammonia based. Yeah.
Quick one here. Do you have a couple of go-to colours for making oils for weathering? Yes. Starship Filth and Smoke, which is 005. What's Starship Filth? I can't remember off the top of my head. Starship Filth is, where is the smoke? I can show you. I've got it here somewhere. Smoke, eating a pancake. Okay, these are my two go-to for purely weathering type colours. So Abtai Lung 502, and this is 005, which is Smoke. Okay, and then Starship Filth, part of the Fantasy range, which is 510. And they're my go-to for ones for weathering. I tend to use them all the time. The Smoke's quite a nice one because, to be honest, it's almost the same colour as the dark dirt wash that I use on these. So it's not much in it, so it sort of complements itself very, very nicely from those. I do quite like using a couple of the orangey rusty colours as well. This is great because although it looks like it's orange here, actually when you use it, it comes out like a yellowy colour, the thin amounts of it, so it's absolutely great. So they call that Flesh Shadow, which is 215, but I use that for all hydraulic-y stuff. So, yes, very nice. But they're my two go-to colours just for doing oil weatherings and things like that.
Brett says AK is closed, and also Rob says MIG ammo is shut down.
Right. Oh, well, that's... there'll be no more oils in then for a little bit until they reopen.
Yes.
I did have a delivery last week, but all the Starship Filth was gone pretty much within a day. And then whatever stock's left of the oil paints, once that's gone, again, that'll be
right. Then John says, had an email from AK saying the Spanish government has said that e-commerce is essential, so they continue to operate.
Oh, right. Oh, that's good. Oh, well, actually, I'm going to email the rep who I deal with just to see where the land lies with them and if we're going to get any orders, because if so, I'll put a reorder in for, but especially for Starship Filth. Everybody's scrambling now. He's just shown that to get some, and we're I think we're out of stock, or we're down to the last one at least. So, yep.
It's a moving picture, isn't it? This lockdown stuff.
It is very. It's very fluid.
And quick here, Adrian says, what's the best way of painting the Tamiya 135th Hanamag tracks? They're a bit rubbery.
Just normal paint should stick to it, to be honest. I would do a mix of 50-50 black and XF64 red brown. So you've got like a track primer colour, and then weather it from there.
Would you prime it first, or?
What, the tracks?
Mm.
You see, I'd probably give it a blast of what I've got here, but
just whether or not it's going to peel.
You want to use a lacquer-based one, I would say, rather than acrylic. You need something with a bit of flex in it, you know what I mean? Because it does fall, but it's got to be a light coat of primer. I mean, just like a dust, just something for it to grip to, because otherwise it just cracks and breaks off. The easiest way is actually to build it with the tracks on when you've got rubber band tracks and just paint them in situ. So, yeah.
Well, look, we've got loads and loads of questions on here, and I've run out of time. So, what we can do, guys, is I'll write down some of these better ones if you're not on with us tomorrow, or if not, re-ask them tomorrow. But there's loads left on here. But unfortunately, we are out of time for today's show. Apart from, they're just saying here the Zvezda Hind is due out for release today. So,
Yeah.
but again, I don't know if it's in the country yet or if it's been held up and various bits and pieces on with that one. So yes, but apologies not getting through everybody's questions, but as always, you guys have been absolutely fantastic asking them and keeping us very busy, making our way along. For me, to be honest, I'm just refilling this until it's right. So again, this is one of those things, keep filling, keep sanding and filling until you're happy with it, because if you're not, you never will be. So I keep redoing the back of this little guy at the moment, trying to get rid of a little step that I've got there. And I've done that thing of probably making more work than was needed. So, you know, that thing where you started to sand and fill and then you're like, I think I've made it worse. So now I'm backpedaling a bit. So, but yes, we're coming along nicely there. Apart from that, he is all nice. I've also done me a little bit on this one. So again, part 7 of this guy is up with you. To be honest, I'm quite ahead with the video builds on this one at the moment. So what I'm probably going to do is give you another one on top of this one this week. So you'll get part 7, part 8 will be up with you Wednesday, part 9 will be on Friday, because I say I want this one finished. So I'm always doing one a month and we can get on with the next things. But I'm still waiting for my pilot to come in. So hopefully that'll be this week, won't it, Matt?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Can you paint him before you send him down?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, that's service, isn't it?
Yes, we do a build service for anybody who wants anything. So, but yes, very good down in there as always. So don't forget, like and subscribe, hit the ring button, because we're going to be with you again live tomorrow. Obviously, we'll be live with you every day this week as we're making our way through. We've got reviews for you coming for this week as well, and lots of other cool stuff as we're making our way along. So yes, very good. Are we all good?
Yes.
All
Brilliant.
happy? But again, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, guys. Absolute pleasure. What time are we doing tomorrow?
Same
Same
time.
Same time. Okay, same time, same bat place, same bat channel.
Yeah. Well, every day's turning to Groundhog Day, so we might as well keep it in sync, can't we?
Yeah, I know. That's what I keep saying to people. People are saying to me about, did you know, it's like every day's the same. It feels like no difference whatsoever. But yes, very good. But no, thank you very much for watching, guys. It has been an absolute pleasure. Say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Cheers,
Good
guys.
afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later.